You know,
All right, we are live. Welcome to the Third Do First In podcast. How are you, Gino?
Good, Keith. How are you?
Good. Missed you last week. You're back.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
Anything good going on in McKeesport?
No, actually, I used some mental health day. I used a mental health day last year, so I haven't been there for going on 6 days now. So,
Nice little break.
yeah, I call it the mental sick day. So could get in trouble for saying that, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Well,
How about you, man? How was the Keith and I were both at a wedding over the weekend, and one of our good friends, his best friend, Keith was the best man in the wedding, and it was a really good time. I'm old, so I left at like 8:45-ish. My wife took my wife home, and what happened after that, Keith?
well, my problem is I don't realize I am old, and so I continued to drink. Then we left there, and I went to the after party at a local bar, and I drank till last call, and then I regretted it for the next couple of days.
Yeah,
So
that sucks.
one of these days I'll learn this lesson. Maybe I should. When the wedding was over, I should have went home.
That pain is so often forgot.
Yeah.
That next morning pain where you're like,
But it was good. It was good. I had a good time at the wedding. I had to give the best man speech. Obviously, a little
you
nervous.
did a great job.
Thanks. I was a little nervous
Seriously,
about that,
you really
but
did. I forgot to mention you knocked it out of the
yeah,
park.
but it seemed to go over well. I got a lot of compliments on the speech during the wedding and stuff like
Good.
that. But it's a good time. Jeremy and Amy are away in Aruba. I was just on FaceTime with them today, and unbelievable. Their room goes right out into there's like a cabana and it goes out to the ocean.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, the crystal clear blue water that they're at and stuff. So looks like they're having a good time.
Must be nice, man.
Did you get that car?
I did. I bought a 2018 Lincoln Continental. So my hot rod Lincoln.
Nice. All right. Well, let's get right into our guest here. All right. Our guest today is attorney Kim Hauser. Kim, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Give you a little information before we get in and start speaking to him. We're really excited to have him here. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's assistant chief from Greensburg, PA. He's a rescue specialist with the PA Heart and PA Region 13 Strike Team. He holds Pro Board Fire Officer 1 through 4, instructor in legal aspects of fire command, represents over 200 fire departments and their command staff. He is on the National Fire Academy instructor in fire investigations and other courses. And he's a senior partner with Mears, Smith, Hauser, and Boyle out of Greensburg, PA. Did I get everything right there?
Got him right. Thank you.
Kim, nice to see you. I'm glad you're on, man. Good to see you, brother. Hey,
Yeah, it's good seeing you guys.
You also teach FDIC, right? Do you speak at FDIC?
No, I've been there like twice.
Okay. I thought I seen you in a lineup somewhere for that. Maybe it was a different conference or something.
Yeah, I've been there twice. Back when Brunacini would show up there, and I'm one of his disciples of command and organization made simple.
Much respect for that man.
Oh yeah, he just we brought him into Greensburg like 4 times, and he would always say, what is it you really want me to say to your fire department? And we'd have that great conversation, and he had a way of just presenting what is command, and command is us. It's
Right.
team. It's just I missed him. And he'd write books and he'd send me one. He'd say, "Can you proof this for me?" And I'd read it, and it wasn't much to proof, but it was awesome. And I'd send back some suggestions, and then he and his boys came out with the blue card
Yeah.
online
Yeah. Yeah.
command. He sent me that when it was in the pilot because there were functional issues with it. Worked out some of those details, and so I've been through that 3 times, and he was a genius, and he U.S. Fire Service needed that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for throwing off.
Oh, no.
Keith, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It didn't throw me off at all. So, I mean, the reason we wanted to have you on is we've been talking on a lot of our episodes about things that various volunteer fire departments are doing to have staffing to answer calls, and they have shift crews or stipend programs. And one of the things that got kicked around is the legalities of all this. So I'll just jump in one of my first questions. Many departments are getting creative, make sure that stations are staffed. What are some of the reasons they might use titles as administrators or janitors instead of just calling them shift crews?
Yeah. That's look. Here's the reality. The harshness of the federal agencies or the state agencies, they yin and yang and ebb and flow depending on who's in office. And it doesn't mean that one party or the other party is better. It just means that other things get more weaponized the way they'll look at these various incentive programs. Some of the incentive programs, a lot of EMS fire will pick the low hanging fruit that seems to be easy to apply and it's cheap. And sometimes it starts, I call it, it changes the ethos of a fire department. An example would be if a municipality or a fire company says, we need to make sure we get more of our volleys out. Let's give them a paid per call stipend.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make over 10,000 a year or 5,000 a year or whatever. They put an artificial boundary on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, how do you get paid per call? And then what will happen is the second half of the year, nobody comes out on the calls anymore after 2 to 3 years. The volunteer ethos, it lasts only so long, and then it expires.
Mm-hmm.
And the more remuneration you put into that system will determine, in the way it's applied, will determine how long your volleys will stay in orbit. It's a harsh reality.
So would you, to follow up on Keith's question, would you say is it a generational thing right now? Is it just this generation of young people that want to get involved are not going to necessarily do it for basically free?
Of course, we have cultural, forget about crosswinds. We have like big major undertows that are killing us. I mean, right. If you volunteer to do anything, even at the church, there's a whole segment of our society that will call us chumps and slackies, and you guys are just stupid because you're working for free. And you sit there and you go like, well, that's not our ethos.
Right.
And remuneration, look, there's things that should be remunerated all the time. Is like if I'm going to training, that should be a no-brainer. Pay for it. If I need, if we have certain types of calls that we go on in the fire department, and they happen to be a little more hazmat-ish, then we should have hazmat PPE and training to go with it. And that should be paid for. I mean, it's like anything that deals with like OSHA PPE, OSHA training, OSHA compliance. The municipality should be paying for all that. I'll work for free as long as I don't have to pay for that stuff. But look, we end up buying our own fire gloves. We end up buying our own Nomex hoods, and so the reality of that is hard. But if I go back to the paid per call, it seems like a nice bridge for the first year, second year, and then by the third year, nobody wants to come work bingo. Nobody wants to sell tickets. It's like, well, no kidding. I'm not getting paid for that stint, unless I'm sitting there for a call. But if a call comes in, I'm only there because I want to get my paid per call divvy, as they say. So that I think that cultural reality, once you start putting money in it, the dynamics and the direction of your fire department is going to change. You can slow that march down to ultimately getting everyone paid for the hours they put in, with benefits and medical, as they should. If you put paid guys on, they should be getting the best rate, the best benefits. They should be given a facility and maintain facility for paid guys to be professionals and do a professional job.
Right.
Should be. That's it. And then they say, well, we're out of money. Let's add volunteers. And you're sitting there going, it's almost like trying to convince your wife that you need to let your girlfriend live in the other bedroom. It may work for a day or two until the divorce papers land on you, or
Right.
or you wake up with arsenic in your cereal and you're not sure which of the two are trying to kill you.
Yeah.
It's just a hard culture to bridge. In Western PA, I think some of the best fire departments, as an example, Mount Lebanon, I think is one of the best for being a combo. But they have unique cultural, the ability that if you're a volley in their world, you're going to turn out to be a world-class firefighter, instructor, pro board, something somewhere, and you'll get a job. So I mean, it's I think one of the best combo fire departments, not only in the state, but I think in the United States. So it's nice to see success.
Yes.
And being able to merge the career ethos and what is it, the monetary part,
Yeah.
and support that. But I jokingly always tell Nick, you guys are really a paid fire department. You attract volleys and you help the resume, and that's still an awesome thing.
We had Nick on. Nick actually sat in
Sure.
the studio with us, and I obviously have admired Nick for years. I was glad to have him on, excited to have him on actually. Their system over there is his model that he took on and built upon, and Kurt is doing the same thing now. Is amazing. It really is.
It is, and it's nice to have money too. I mean,
Absolutely. And like he even told us, like his volunteers are usually professional people who actually block the time out of their busy schedules to participate and to cover overnight shifts and stuff. I kudos to them, but you're right. They're unique. They're so unique.
And they get to pick who's going to be on the team. I mean,
Right.
I wish in the volley world, if you could pick the team you want.
Yeah.
You sit there going like, they wouldn't want to join,
Right.
So I don't know. It's
So
like
with departments like that, obviously Mount Lebanon's a little financially better to bring in basically a full paid fire department, although it's a combination department. But for some of these volunteer companies that are looking to have guys there to answer calls, and maybe the stipend programs aren't working and they're doing some type of paid shift crew. When I say shift crew, they're actually calling them like administrators. They're there to do other things. And when a call comes in, I guess they're technically off the clock and they're going out as a volunteer on the fire truck. But what are your thoughts? What's the best system to sort of merge, not a full blown paid fire department, but having some type of staffing there that you're giving some type of monetary incentive to?
And the legalities of it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of times I start listening to a design that's being implemented one way or the other. And a lot of times I sit there and go like this, you don't want to, don't ask me, is it working? Then, don't ask me. It's better not for me to get high in the, what will the law do? Because, various agencies look at these designs, and while you may get past the IRS design, the Unemployment Compensation Bureau for Pennsylvania may take umbrage to it and then litigate it. And you're sitting there going, I didn't even know they care. Or you get yourself into, your design is such that we all try to design something that if you're there for how many work units you have, that you get appropriate, fair remuneration for it. But the more it looks like per hour, the more danger zone you go down the per hour factor that they're going to look at. And how do you fairly remunerate people fairly if it's not on a per hour unit? I don't know. It's paid per call. Then it's Russian roulette if you're there, or you can show up.
Some of them are 8-hour shifts.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
A lump sum for an 8-hour shift, or there is sometime an hourly number put on that.
Yeah. So what's the reality of what's 1 hour and 8 worth?
Right.
But you got to do all 8 to get your total
Yeah.
value. Yeah. So what's the economic reality is where you're going to get tested in front of a judge. When it comes down to, is the remuneration small enough, and what is small enough? And of course, everyone's relying on that 1983 Fair Labor Standard letter that says, as long as you're not over 20% of what a career fireman would get in your locale, it's low enough that they won't care. And it's like, but it also says, what are all the other benefits you get needs to get added into that. And it's like,
you were saying earlier before the podcast started about, unemployment, like you said, pension, healthcare, all the things that go along.
And even they say, well, we get that because we're volley. That's not in the paycheck. Well, it's the economic reality of what's the benefit for that. And look, we all know we have fire station lawyers, let alone lawyers out there on TV looking for stuff. They'll litigate that the sky is chartreuse and it's really not, cobalt blue. And
right.
We have adult fights over the color of bingo tables for 2 or 3 meetings. You just sit there and go.
Is there obviously IRS changes are a big mountain to try to go after, but is there anything like state legislation wise that could get changed to help volunteer fire departments that are doing this?
On the wage, I call it on the wage structure mechanisms and things of that sort. Is there things they can do? How about help the municipalities properly fund us? And I don't care if you give me a W-2 at the end of the year. It's like, I mean, we're asked to provide 24/7 response to multiple hazards, including EMS supplementing, even if it's not one of our primary objects or mission. And everyone talks about having proper PPE, and OSHA, call it basic OSHA PPE, basic OSHA training, basic OSHA operations.
Mhm.
And then you sit there and go like, well, hell, I don't even think career fire departments are OSHA compliant on all that.
Not on every aspect, no. Absolutely.
Yeah, well,
Right.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
not every aspect. Really? Yeah. Even some of the aspects you think you are you really? Pennsylvania, the fact Pennsylvania has so far maintained that OSHA does not apply directly to fire departments. That's not true. OSHA does apply to us. It's just they have the state labor and industry running interference, saying they apply OSHA as stringent as OSHA would federal.
We're just not liable for penalties from OSHA, right? Or isn't that
That's
part?
not true. No, that's just they can come in and penalize you, or they can also lean on the state labor and industry to penalize it. Look, when you have a line of duty death, guess who's here?
Right.
NIOSH is really part of the federal OSHA, apparatus in terms of evaluating what series of things caused this violation, including was it OSHA compliant? I mean, they're looking at everything. So they do land on us. And how about right now? At the end of last year, there was one of the legislative committees was talking about mandatory OSHA for the whole state of Pennsylvania, and wasn't there a hearing down in Congress that they were having at the end of the Biden administration that they were going to turn OSHA had to apply to everybody, and
I vaguely remember something.
Yeah, well, in Pennsylvania, we were told that that OSHA requirement's never going to make it out of committee. And guess what made it out of committee in January or February was, hey, they got enough votes to bring a OSHA state mandatory. And all the legislators I know, I kept saying, we're not properly funded now. What do you think is going to happen when you have OSHA penalties coming in? They're not going to penalize you and say, hey, a couple of your firefighters had bunker gear that was way over 10 years old, and it's not going to meet the PPE inspection requirements for OSHA. And oh, by the way, we're going to whack you for 40 grand for not having good bunker gear. So now the city cuts a check to OSHA for 40 grand, and it goes to DC. They're not buying you bunker gear with that money, or they're not helping to use that money to bridge what needs to be bridged. So that would cause the whole state of Pennsylvania to have multi-billion dollar problems if OSHA penalties applied to us.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure where that idea came from. Can you guys imagine OSHA applying to stuff that
it would completely change my fire department.
Oh,
it's in my career department. It would completely change it.
It would, and it would wipe out whole segments of the volunteer fire service in Pennsylvania. Look, there's a reason the volunteer fire service is only 80% of the firefighting folks in Pennsylvania. So they cover like 80% of the land mass, but only 60% of the population. So you sit there and go, there's a need for the career firefighters and career fire stations in densely populated areas, heavily hazardous, commercial, dense, combined. I mean, there's a absolute need for them, but OSHA would kill them too.
Well, I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever think that Pennsylvania would or ever just become a completely career or paid fire service. but there has to be a balance, like you were saying, like in some of the rural areas,
Yeah.
you know, out towards Lewistown and the center of the state where it's a lot of farming and the population is not dense. You know, they can still operate and still function as what they know and do in that specific region. But what about everybody else?
Yeah, welcome to the conversation at the government level. You know, like how do you bridge for those that have great need for OSHA equipment versus properly funding OSHA equipment even in the denser areas, which you know, like I said, I'm not sure the urban fire departments could withstand an OSHA super enforcement and compliance either. So
Yeah.
I see it as it's a team issue. Pennsylvania Fire Service, it's a problem. And the fact that legislators are talking about it, I just scratch my head and go like, you know, why don't you penalize fire departments for the number of cancer firefighters we get at the end of our career, and penalize the cities that have any cancerous firefighter claims? And you sit there and go like, yeah, it may be in a perfect world that makes sense, but you can't do that. There's not enough money.
Right.
There's not enough money to fund all the things that should be funded. You know, hell, our schools aren't even properly funded, and I'd rather my kids get the money than my own fire department if it came down to it. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Kim, on another note on legislation, through your career representing fire departments for various things, is there any other legislation that affects fire departments that you can think of that you know, could use some tweaking, or firefighters getting together and going to the legislators and say, hey, let's get this changed?
Now you're going to get me in trouble. You know, I look at every, I shouldn't say every. When I look at some of the initiatives, I sit there and I go like, did they really think through the practical impact of it? And an example would be allowing the legislation that allows communities to give you a tax credit up to $500 for being a volunteer firefighter or a career firefighter. I know it doesn't apply to career firefighters, but I sit there and I go like, okay, wait a minute. So I'll use Greensburg as an example. Maybe about half my members don't even live in the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that later on, but go ahead.
Yeah. So what's a $500 tax credit for them? You know? So and then you sit there and go like, and we do have a lot of members, but remember it's call based, and it's like who's eligible to go on calls. I get that, and it should be based on that. The next part of that is for the ones that qualify. Let's say that you add up everybody that gets the credit, and it adds up to I don't know, 20 grand.
Yeah.
So what's that? 500. I got 40 people that can hit 500. Does that make sense? Did I get the math right? I can't remember.
Yeah, 40. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even if make it 20 grand, you know, okay?
Yeah.
Well, guess where the city's going to take that 20 grand out of? It's coming out of my fire department budget.
Absolutely. Some line item somewhere.
So I'm sitting there going like, wouldn't it, all that credit money you just gave away, now I got, instead of me figuring out how to use that for recruitment and retention of junior firefighters and putting that money into making it fun and safe, and then develop these new leaders that are young and give them really community-based perspectives and how to become infused in the community. Now I have to turn around to my wife, of course, my second wife. Dear, you know that $500 credit we got from the city for me making all those calls last year? Yes. Can I have that $500 back so I can go buy some fire department hats for my junior firefighters? Well, you don't have to use those French words all at the same sentence. Yeah. And you sit there and go like, now I got to negotiate with my wife to get even my little portion of this money that now they've extracted out of my part of the budget.
Hmm.
And I lose the ability to direct that to recruitment and retention. So
Retention specifically, yes, especially if you have tenured firefighters there that have been, 10, 12, 15, 20, maybe in the volunteer department. It starts to get to you. You know what I mean? You get older in your age, and because I know I have a lot of friends that are my age that are still volunteering on a regular basis, and you could tell they're just like figuring out that my time is worth a little bit more somewhere else.
yeah, and think of it this way too. There's a little bit of Mother Teresa in all of us, like I guess I could go put my time in and I could sit at my desk and bill at $350 an hour corporate clients that are private for-profit corporations.
Mhm.
And I could do that, but I it's in me. I want to go on the call. I'm willing to go stand in traffic for an hour or two because it's part of my team. It's part of my DNA. And I don't care about the money. I got to care a little bit because I got overhead and I got shoes I got to put on my kids' feet. I get that, but we've turned everything into it's about the money. Hell, we talk about this all the time. Pro football players, pro basketball players make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then the Pittsburgh EMS medics who are like they could be field surgeons. That's how good they are. They're barely making 100 a year, and they miss their families. They got all that time in the field because they're giving their family time up to be in the field. And
Yeah.
I don't know. We've got. I think we got our core values, core ethics are all twisted. I know we sit around and talk about that. We've decided it's free to turn around and take core values and then breathe it into your junior firefighters, breathe it into your new members. It's free. It's an attitude. It's a vision. It's a conversation language change is all it is. And it's free, but that takes too much time, too much effort. And for most Vikings, it's easier to just go to City Hall and say, we don't have enough money for tires than it is to change the conversation in your head, in your crew's head, in your organization's head, and also how the community will now view you as being a community cheerleader.
Yes.
And just not taking money out of general revenue.
So through your experience repping all these fire departments, is there a number one thing that you see come up a lot that you wish you could get out the fire departments to say, hey, stop doing this or change this or pay more attention to this?
I think right now, I tell you, the online fundraising is until the casinos figure out how to quash that, and they're slowly getting the votes to figure out how to stop fire companies from doing online fundraising.
Really? So there's actually like a movement out there to stop these volunteer fire departments that are trying to raise money for their communities.
Just keep your eyes open. I'm telling you, you keep your eyes open.
That's insane to hear that.
Well, hey, welcome. The politic, most politicians, of course, don't mean ill intent to anybody, but they also have constituents that are just more than your volleys and your career guys. And the fact that career fire departments, they can't do online fundraising.
No.
Period. And in the volley world, it's like, hey, it's a technical violation to do them because you're really not supposed to take credit cards online. But the fire companies are doing it. I can't tell them that they're allowed to do it, but it's a gray area. And in criminal law, if it's a gray area, the state loses. But you're still in that gray area zone. It's So
I've been in that gray area, so I know. Um, I've heard so many great stories of places, I get it. Yeah, you advocate for the career end and everything, but I've also my heart and soul is volunteer fireman. Keith and I both have been born and raised in Pleasant Hills, and that's where we got our start. But I see some of these places and talk to firefighters from these places. It's turned their fire departments around. It's saved some places.
yeah,
Recruitment financially, though.
yeah, and look, the fact that the municipalities have historically underfunded the fire services and got away with underfunding. I jokingly said a couple years ago, Bob Rohde is one of my captains in the fire department. We got a Rotary grant to go to the Dominican Republic to study the Dominican Republic Fire Service and their EMS. And Rotary was going to put in $1 million worth of training and value added to this third world country that is actually craves the United States culture and would love to be a part of the U.S. And we're going on fire calls with fire departments that have our equipment from the 1980s and the 70s. Rubber boots. One guy had 2 left boots on, but they were his size. They had the Storts connected hose that they used duct tape to string it together to make their links to pump from these. They loved the fire engines we sent down there, but the problem was they couldn't fix them. They can't maintain them. They can't even get parts for them, but they love American fire trucks. So we shipped down there.
Yeah, a lot of places do. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's really nice. We shipped all that stuff to them, but they can't use them. And then the radio systems, we sent them down our old radios, and you know what they're using. You're using these on Nextel. They're not even using the 2 ways. And I go, okay, you fire up your hose and they decouple and come apart. How do you put that fire out? They go, we take shovels and throw dirt in the front door till we get it out.
Gee.
And I'm sitting there going, wow. And they're still trying to wear our old stuff.
Right.
And then I come back and I listen to our fire companies around here saying, man, I got this old tick and I can't get the new ones in us. And I'm sitting there going, man, we're so spoiled. So spoiled. Oh my God. And remember, and they're no different than us. They just happen to be in a system that if they had all our stuff, they would be fighting fire like we would. And maybe there's a never.
Yeah, I'm sure they're sitting because they have the internet. They probably have some technology, right? They're probably watching our videos up here, the USA fire videos, and it's like they're fun for the evenings. I could just see it.
It is, except that the one chief, because we were there for like 10 days, or I can't even remember, maybe it was 8 days, but we went to every fire station in the Dominican Republic. My butt hurt from riding around the island, but at the end of the day, here I am. I'm saying, hey, we can bring some of this advanced training down here and bring down a couple of New York guys, a couple of New Jersey guys, a couple of Chicago, some from Houston. We have great reserve of teaching mode firefighters, but going down there, I realized the chief goes, Kim, you can come down here. My team, my firefighters will watch and love every minute of what you're teaching us, but you might as well teach us to fight fires on the space shuttle, because we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have
right.
They don't have hydrants. They don't even have hose to connect together.
They're cutting bar joists on a flat roof. I don't think
sitting there going, oh my God, yeah. And they love, like I said, they love our fire trucks, and they put them on blocks behind the station and say, hey, you want to come see our new or our US the one aerial they have down there, it's an American aerial. I can't remember what it was, but they loved it. They thought, oh, you got to come see our aerial. And I go look at it. It had front tires, but it was on blocks. The motor didn't run because they needed parts. There was, you can tell it hadn't been driven in years. But they were so proud that they had one of our aerials and they had pictures of it.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It's sad. It's sad. Don't get me wrong. It's
yeah, but it puts the Pennsylvania or U.S. Fire Service in some perspective,
Yeah.
a little bit. There's a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's those fire guys down there are just as courageous as ours. We watched them fight a fire in a hospital using this level of technology, and they were magnificent. They were pulling people out. And they're just like, what's that?
Did you give him a hand?
I was there to observe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't have any gear.
You would have had to handcuff me.
Yeah, they would have gave me 4 or 2 left foot boots and a duck.
Hey, I'll help. I don't know.
Hey, Kim, another question I had, this comes up on social media, I see from time to time, run card discussions and people saying that the fire department could be liable if they don't have the closest companies on the run cards. And I always sort of wondered about that, like how that works. Obviously, some volunteer fire companies are independent from the municipality. I know growing up in school, I remember the old saying, the king can do no wrong. And I thought municipalities sort of had an immunity from lawsuits, but I wondered, do those independent fire companies have immunity, or could they actually be sued? But can they be personally sued? Could the fire chief personally be sued?
Yeah, you're bringing up a really good topic. And it's not a topic that can be talked about in every circle, because you got to also put that legal issue in context. So if you start with the core part of it, the core part is, under Pennsylvania law, the ultimate entity that's responsible for providing and ensuring that there's fire protection is the municipality, not the fire company, not the volunteer fire corporation, not the relief association. It's the municipality. Now, the municipality can choose to put people on its payroll, and then you have a career fire department. Those readouts, they have a fire chief that makes them, but the municipality is responsible for readouts. So it's statutory. Now, some municipalities allow the volunteer fire chiefs and or the career fire chiefs to make the readouts.
Trust them, man.
Well, hey, the municipalities have trouble paving their alleys. So what are they supposed to do with readouts?
Right.
You know, they might as well pick brain surgeons for your employees that have brain injuries on your worker comp policy or your list, right? It's like, come on, man, what do you know about that stuff? Nothing. So, but by law, the municipality has the responsibility for ensuring fire protection, and therefore the readouts are their primary authorization capability to dispatch. The county dispatches all know that. It's true that in some systems, the fire chiefs will make the readouts. The harsh reality is the municipalities have just allowed them to do willy-nilly on the readouts without trying to figure out, is it working? B, does it meet the standard care of who's on the call? And, did they even ever look at it? Now, again, we're wading into 2 big sticky issues. How much control does a municipality need to have, and how much control should they have?
Mm-hmm.
My train of thought is, if you have good leadership and good fire, whether it's career or volley, and they have the right core values and they're true leaders, it's easy to have that system, and you can rely on. Municipality shouldn't have any control other than we trust what you can do because we see what you can do, and the leadership component is there. The one thing, if you watch, or I don't want to say you said it, but there's a theory that all you have to do is hire a career firefighter and put him in a volunteer fire service, and he'll do all the right things and do all the good things, and the readouts will be fine, and that fire system will thrive. And one thing that you found is just because you came from a career system doesn't mean that you're a good leader. Money can't buy good leadership. It can help develop it. It allows you to at least sift through candidates to get the gifted leader that's going to put that magic into the system, because it's not about money. If you get a leader that comes in and says, here's my career SOGs, we're going to run this just like a career fire department, and they just layer it right on, that system's going to be dead, and you've picked a leader that's not the needed leader for that challenge.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be career within a year.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know what system has that kind of money to do it. So
Right.
So
it's happening more and more around here, where you're having, municipalities hiring career chiefs as just like a police chief, in an all volunteer system. And the challenges of that seem astronomical to me, and a community that basically separates us, really.
Well,
and
yeah,
you know where I'm talking about. And again, I don't know the people. I'm just thinking what a monumental task it would be for one single employee to corral a fire department that's all volunteer.
Yeah, and look, there are people out there, and I know several of them personally that have gone from the career system into the volley system, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I know you mean. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say names, but and I think it's the quality of leadership is the difference. And in the volley system, if the municipality really was into morphing that part of that system, then find the good leader that is going to inspire that system and develop it. And because it's not about the money, and it's easy. Everyone says, well, it's easy. Just come in and we'll put money in the system and everyone's going to make all the calls and life's going to be happily ever after, except that why is it that people leave these systems when you even put money in it? It's because you got crappy leadership.
Yeah.
And they come do the shift because they're going to get the pay, not because they got a good leader above them.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of heart.
You do. And the other, I call it the magic is, I challenge my younger officers in my department and the other ones, even at National Fire Academy. I always say, if you can't beat this thing right here, you can't beat this, and you can't beat the dollar bill to create love for the fire service, then you know what? Go do something else, because you're not made to be a leader. Some of the leaders who were both in the volley and career world, they can appreciate the fact that in the volley world, to be a good leader, you have to learn how to inspire people. You have to learn how to educate and train them to be exceptional, even when they may not think that they're able to, or they may not think they have that interest. And you need them to perform exceptionally when they do perform. But I can't shoot you. I can't cut your pay.
Mm-hmm.
I lay you off. I can't affect your pension. I can cut you, but you'll just go to another team. So in that special world where I can't hurt you in the volley leadership model,
Mm-hmm.
you're left to using better leadership skills to inspire, to train, to get the core values out, to make it where people want to come belong to your team, not because of the money, because the leader has shown the reason why we need to exist as a Navy SEAL team.
Yeah, the one that I'm thinking of is in Western PA here. Excuse me. He has seemed to have great success, but he's also a very special human being. And I'll just say he's in the South Hills. Him and I have been friends for a very long time, and it seems to me that looks like a very special department that ever since they placed him as a career fire chief into that department. But anyways, yeah, you're right. Leadership is all it is. You're absolutely right.
So if Pennsylvania has spent as much time talking about rolling out remuneration and all these things we need to put in place to pay for stuff, to inspire me to go, if we spent as much time training our young officers and the older officers even to go be leaders and how to be a leader and hand them the skill sets and teach them and how to use them. I mean, look at the money. We have, I don't know, studies, and we do all kinds of stuff, and you sit there and go like, hey, if I had a piece of that just to teach leadership, and look at the National Fire Academy. That's really what's happening. We take some of the best career middle management chief officers, we bring them to the National Fire Academy, and we have them learn to taste, to feel, to speak core values, how to inspire in skill sets of there's other ways to have the system become more impactful, not only for the dollar, but also for that humanity. And then they go through that EFO course, and the people come out of there, the vast majority go on to having significant impact as soon as they come out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you come through the arson track or you come through the officer track, or even you just go down there for the PA weekend and take a course with instructors who are fire people that speak mission. It can make you taste it, feel it, and hey, I can take this back. We can apply this. Right. And I think it's the magic that
get them young down there. You know what I mean? I always say that I've never taken the EFO program, I've never, but get them under 50 down there, and in the volley or the career side. I don't know if that's just an all career thing or a volunteer chiefs can go to that. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, the truth is that overall we see very few volleys come through that system because most of those courses are like 10 days long.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's getting better because a lot of it now is online, and you can just do like 4 days, and you can roll it over like three years or even shrink it. And they also have they used to, I don't know, I shouldn't speak out of turn, but they used to be able to fund volleys for some of the training. Look, it's room and board is free.
Yeah.
Well, at least the room is. The board of the fire department is kind of cheap. You can do a whole 10 days. It's $300. Otts is a fun place to go drink beer, and you see every challenge coin, every patch from the United States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know I'm a little far afield, but I think making those leadership training where you can absorb it and actually use it. You can take courses anywhere, and you sit, and it's like a pony show where you sit there and they show you pictures and they talk about words that leaders use and call it feelings that leaders have or do. But to really get the skill sets in simulated exercise or seeing how you can put these skill sets together.
And you have natural leaders too. You can see them as you've been in the fire service for a very long time. You see them up very young.
And we should develop them. We should, instead of my first 5 years in our department, I kept saying I'd pull in, and of course I was the probie, and I'm looking, and I'm there. Why are they taking, like, on this high rise? Why are they taking all the windows out of the 6th floor and then the 7th floor and the 8th floor? I'm sitting there going, I don't understand that. And then one of the officers says, well, just stick around here. After 10 years, we'll give you a radio, and then you'll just know what you're supposed to do. And I'm sitting there going, sorry, man, that's I went to the Air Force Academy. That didn't go down well.
Well, it's we're going to coming up on an hour. It's been a long conversation and went really quick here.
Yeah, I have like so many more. But
yeah, was there something about Greensburg you said you wanted to ask though?
Oh, together we were talking about your core values and how, you said half of your members, and I don't know if you really want to talk a bunch about this, but half of your members are now, not Greensburg residents, but they used to be probably, obviously, when you came up young through the service there. But tell us a little bit about how that all operates there, because some of our listeners and viewers might not. Greensburg is very unique to me. I'm very interested in it.
Yeah, we had 63 years of being under a Marine Corps gunny sergeant, and we were just in a Marine Corps light for years until he retired. And then there were 8 of us. We're all gray haired now. We're sitting there going, we have to run this thing now. I joined. I just wanted to be on the engines, on the trucks, and doing rescue calls, and that's the fun stuff. And now all of a sudden, I got to run this thing. So a bunch of us just said we need to pick a younger chief. We got to wrap ourselves around and make the chief successful. Wow. And then we got to develop programs to make the fire department better. Not that we weren't bad. I mean, we were actually pretty good under Hutch, but there were things we needed to improve on, like command and control, radio protocol. We were pretty shitty at all that, but we were crappy at core values. You could go cut cars up, and like every other word is an F this, F that, and other horrible sexual blah blah. Hey, in the day it was like, it's like being in the military. I just thought that was the adjectives you're supposed to use all the time, but we realized, okay, we can't do this anymore. So we came out with a dignity statement, mandatory respect, that you must be respectful to each other, and you must respect the citizens. You must. So you had these core value concepts, and we made it mandatory. We rolled them out. There's not going to be hazing. There's not going to be poor language. There's not going to be grabbing ass and hitting on all the chicks and then having strippers come into the station. Not that ever happened, of course, if anybody's listening.
Legend.
Yeah, it's all legend. So you sit there and you go like, we had to put that behind us. So we made it mandatory. We told everyone it's mandatory. We're rolling it out. It passed. The Board of Control said, yeah. So that was the keystone for the beginning of changing the direction of, call it the core values of the fire department. And then that actually allowed us to do a lot of stuff. When we rolled that out, I had at least 10 people come up and say, Chief, thank you for getting this rolled out. Because, and then they started telling me things. I'm saying, I didn't even know there was a problem.
Yeah.
And it's mandatory that if an officer is present when it's happening, they have to stop it, intervene, counsel. And if it's bad, you got to then act on it and it becomes an investigated or a dignity violation type thing. And the officer can be disciplined for not doing the right thing.
Oh.
And that was where the dignity statement actually was the whole community started to realize, you know what, these guys, they sound different, they act different. We become the community cheerleader across the board. We were doing fundraising with churches,
Yeah,
with police departments. It was just a fundraiser. Let's go. Would you believe it was within 3 to 4 months that the word got out that, this dignity statement, we were different. We had junior firefighters coming out of our ears because now the parents actually allowed them to come to the station, and we never knew why. We never saw kids. We had kids on bicycles coming down to the station. I haven't seen that since the 70s,
Do you think it was just the old school persona? You're just faded away, and you're bringing in a professional image at first.
A community core value is you call that professional. I call it it was us.
I didn't mean that as far as money or whatever. I just meant professionally delivering your service.
Yeah, and we actually leaned into like, hey, what are we gonna do with these kids? And it's like, hey, some of them are 12, and it's like, well, you got to be 14 to belong to the fire department. So guess what we did? We lowered the age to 12. I mean, they're not allowed to do anything, but they can come with their parents. We let them come to like some of our open house meetings and things. We kind of incorporate them in, and next thing you know, for training, we teach them command and control and benchmarking. How about that? At 11, 12, and 13, they can talk on the radio better than some of my 30 and 40-year-old fire chiefs, assistant chiefs. But and now they've come of age. We're like 8 years, 9 years downrange.
Okay.
And now I'm in a working fire, and I tend to get sectored to the hottest door where all the action is. Not as a chief, but as a forward battalion chief in that location. I'm sectored out on that hot door. There's a whole slew of things I got to stay there and do. Not only a safety officer, it's accountability. RIT team, they're going to be going in this door. Do I have enough air cycling going on? Do I have pass device time coming up? We don't collect tags. We just got to know what crew units are inside.
Okay.
But radio protocol becomes an accountability tool. So how about this? I got one of my junior firefighters who came in on like the third engine. He comes up, hey chief, you're coming up on, we got the fire knocked down. You might want to get the salvage company in position. And oh, by the way, one of the station needs backfilled. And I'm like, okay, hey, great. And I'm sitting there going like, wow, boom, on the radio, benchmarked it. And the juniors become value added to what's going on. We teach them that, our command, we get on scene, you got to get a 360 done, because that's one of the reasons a lot of firefighters die in the line of duty, when command doesn't get that benchmark completed. So we're getting them ready to be a team player. It's like, how can you make young Steelers if they don't know what the plays look like?
Yeah, I definitely. I think maybe we'll reach out to you again, because maybe somebody from your department can come on and talk about your junior program, because I think that's definitely a way for the future to keep the ranks filled. So,
well, thank you so much, sir. I hope to talk
no problem.
to you soon again.
Hey, you guys are fun to talk to. Your time goes fast, and it's cool.
And before we go, I just want to, what was your extension? We have your phone number up there, but 724-832-8700 extension.
125.
125. If you get a hold of this firm there.
You can Google us, and hey, I try to help. And I tell fire companies, the only reason I can't work for free anymore is because I'll get divorced, and I couldn't afford the first divorce. So I have to charge the triage, not working for free every weekend.
All right. We appreciate it, Kim.
You, sir.
We will talk again. Thank you.
Okay, guys. See ya.
See ya.
All right. So that was a pretty good talk. I didn't think it was going to go on that long.
Guy's wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I was surprised how
Very
quickly it all went. So before we get into news, I just want to thank our sponsor, FireCam. We'd like to thank our sponsor, FireCam, the one and only manufacturer of helmet cameras built for firefighters. For over a decade, FireCam has been hell-bent on making durable, heat-resistant cameras worthy of the fire service. But they don't stop there. FireCam also offers dash cams, body cams, drones, and more. Their new FireCam Blackjack flashlight kit is a must-have for interior firefighting. With 3 helmet cameras to choose from, the FireCam Mini 1080, the FireCam 1080, and the FireCam Onyx 4K, there's an option for every firefighter. Order now at firecam.com. All right, so the news stories I got this week. First, I want to talk about the city's aging fleet. I just saw a news story that 2 of the 3 hazmat trucks in the city of Pittsburgh are broken down.
Yeah, I mean,
apparently, I guess they talked to city council member Anthony Coghill. He says he's not surprised. He says Pittsburgh invests about $7 million a year in its vehicle fleet, but a study shows the city should be spending 2 or 3 times that amount. I know a little while ago I saw stories about EMS units that were breaking down left and right.
yeah. It's a big fund. It's a big line item for municipalities, cities, whatever, and it's an easy grab also. When they're looking to allocate money to other places, and I don't know what that, if that's happening anywhere that are real, but you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
They don't have so much in toilet paper that year. Let's just take off $100 and throw it over to whatever. But now it's front and center because from my understanding, their chief, Daryl Jones, who's been down there for many years now, has been complaining about their fleet and the fleet services for years. So, I mean, it hasn't fallen on it's fallen on deaf ears. And now it's becoming a serious emergency issue for them. So,
and not to mention, I mean, this is another topic that maybe down the road we can dive into, but you can't even get apparatus. You want to get apparatus, you're 2 years out.
Yeah.
So
you better have already ordered it. Yes.
Yeah. So then I want to give a little shout out. Pittsburgh Pirates had the appreciation night for all those involved in the Clairton Coke Works plant incident. 2 workers were killed off scene, 10 others were injured in that blast. More than 50 U.S. Steel safety personnel and first responders from over 20 agencies across Western Pennsylvania were recognized on the field. Fans giving a standing ovation. So it's pretty nice.
A bunch of photos from social media.
Yeah, it's pretty nice parts of that, and good honor for those guys. And this past weekend, members of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire traveled to Colorado Springs for the annual Fallen Firefighters Memorial Remembrance Ceremony. This service pays tribute to firefighters lost on the line of duty, whether on scene or from occupational illness. 3 late Pittsburgh firefighters were honored at this year's memorial: Battalion Chief John Walsh, Captain James Ellis, and Lieutenant Randolph Meyer.
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that. I had the unfortunate experience of going to Colorado Springs specifically for this event, and it's a solemn event. It's broadcast live every year, but it's a great thing that the International Association of Firefighters have been doing and are doing out there. But if you're ever in Colorado Springs and you're in our service, stop and see it. It's an amazing monument, amazing memorial.
I guess every year they do that September, I assume.
Yeah.
So. All right. Lastly, on my news events, I just wanted to give a little mention that on October 4th, the Broughton Volunteer Fire Company will be holding a fundraiser at the Park Valley Lounge from noon to 7 p.m. Hamburger and fries will be $10. Hot dog and fries will be $6, and 100% of the proceeds will be going to the fire department. Park Valley Lounge makes some very good food. That's actually what we want for our little after party after the wedding.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you're in the area on the South Hills on so that was October 4th between noon and 7, stop by, help support local fire departments.
Good. Sounds great.
So that's all I had. You have anything, Gino?
No, we're doing final thoughts here. Again, everybody, as you can watch the news, can't take your hand or your face out of your phone, which I can't. Is just keep your head on a swivel, watch your six. So everybody, peace. Try not to suck.
All right, we'll catch everybody next week. Next week we have Deputy Fire Marshal Donald Brucker, and we have a lady that's going to talk about therapy dogs. So we look forward to seeing you next week, 7 p.m.
All right.
See you, everybody. Be safe.
See you.